Obviously, Donovan Dijak's final match for Beyond Wrestling today. Arts at the Armory, Somerville, Massachusetts. Sold-out crowd, well over 300 people. An unbelievable match against Walter, and an unbelievable career here in Beyond Wrestling. You know, he just said in his farewell speech that it's funny how being in the top prospect tournament for Ring of Honor is what got him back on Beyond Wrestling's radar. Because we had worked with him once at the New England Pro Wrestling Academy when he was brand new. And it didn't seem like he was a good fit at the time. And it's funny how wrestling's changed so much over the years that independent wrestling gravitates towards the smaller athletes. And it's almost like somebody the size of Donovan Dijak is eschewed because they're a WWE wrestler. But to see what somebody of his size is capable of inside of a professional wrestling ring, he was an instant fit with Beyond Wrestling. And he was put in a series of difficult situations, which he overperformed. You know, being in an angle with a referee and with a cameraman is not the easiest material to work with, but he owned it. And the connection with the crowd was undeniable, and he was able to earn opportunities with guys that he performed well with on our secret shows, but competing against guys like Biff Busick, Brian Fury, Eddie Edwards, an unbelievable match with Jonathan Gresham, Chris Hero, Tommaso Ciampa. The list goes on and on and on, where it's stealing the show, stealing the show, stealing the show. Donovan Dijak is the show now. This is what people are paying to come and see. And especially the match that he referenced with Biff Busick back at Fet Music. It was an event called Life Sucks and Then You Die. You know, a match not even originally scheduled for that day. I just remember being backstage during intermission, and Biff wanted to call the match back to me just so that he could remember. And I always like having the perspective of going into it completely fresh, so I don't have any expectations. But when I heard what he was doing, knowing that he was on his way out, he wanted to put together a match to pass the torch to Donovan Dijak. So not only the faith that the fans had in him and the rest of the crew and everybody else, but for Biff Busick, who was synonymous, he was the face of Beyond Wrestling for such a long period of time, to do something so completely selfless, to really cement Donovan Dijak as a player here in Beyond Wrestling. It's just one of those things I'll never forget. It's part of the freedom, the flexibility of the platform that we have, where, you know, you show up and you don't know what the plan is today, but magic happens. Biff might be taking too much time right here. I think he might have tunnel vision. Although I'm impressed, he's got Dijak hooked. Kill him. Couldn't drop him. Avoiding contact on the turnbuckle. Oh, Dijak just kicked him in the teeth.
Spot kick city.
Oh, going up for the moonsault. And powerbomb him. He's got him stacked. 1, 2, 3. Super close call. That's the best way to beat the big man.
Power up the legs,
use his weight against him. You don't believe in Biff Busick, do you, Jocko?
The sold-out crowd coming alive. And the Biffster, hey, he's starting to make me a believer a little bit, but you know what? We still got to get the W. That's all it is. Oh! Talk about a Sunday evening, loving it. Yeah! Look at it. Taxi driver. Yeah!
This looks like a scene out of a horror movie. Where is he finding the energy? Oh my God! Took his face off.
First class ticket to Boot City, DC.
What Donovan Dijak means to Beyond Wrestling is he was the person that kind of filled the void after Biff left. He was a talent that like kind of nobody realized how good he was going to get, how talented he really was, and then when they suddenly started hammering him with it, you know what I mean? Like that's when you saw the real Donovan Dijak. I think that Beyond Wrestling might have given him the platform, but he owned that platform when it was given to him, and you know, it's sad to see a guy like Donovan Dijak go.
To Dijak, it's not even a thing for Ciampa. He just goes in there and he just aggresses and just lays the hurt on whatever he's in there with.
Hey, I don't like to necessarily give credit to other promotions during commentary of Beyond Wrestling shows, but Ciampa versus Joe at NXT a few weeks ago.
Oh, man.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen two grown men hit each other that hard, which is a perfect example of what Ciampa's willing to do in a match against the undefeated Donovan Dijak?
Look at that strength from a not even 100% Donovan Dijak, just deadlifting him up and throwing away the trash.
Beyond Wrestling is, in my life, it's almost like an enigma because, you know, it feels like I've been here forever, but in reality, my first match for Beyond was only 2 years ago. So, you know, the fact that I've been treated so well since day one, you know, being able to wrestle guys like Eddie Edwards and Biff Busick and Brian Fury in my first matches, I mean, those are the matches that both from a spotlight standpoint and from my own personal development just springboarded me into another echelon. So it's, and not only that, but they were able to get me opportunities all over the world. I mean, it's as I said in the ring, it's not lost to me, you know, everything that Beyond Wrestling did for me. Not only in the ring for me as a performer and out of the ring as a business and a brand, but just on a level of friendship, you know, of camaraderie. The fans of Beyond Wrestling, the ownership of Beyond Wrestling, the other wrestlers in Beyond Wrestling, they'll all you know, be with me for the rest of my life, and I think that means more to me than anything else.
Your opponent get under your skin, you get mad, you get frustrated, but for Donovan Dijak, you know, I mean, when you competed for your last match for Beyond Wrestling, you know, do you concentrate just on your opponent? Do you let it sink in that this is the last time that this is happening? Like,
I'm so happy. You know, Walter's a guy that I met the first time I went to Germany for WXW in early 2016, and he was so welcoming. You know, we went to the gym together. He speaks great English, so it was awesome to have guys like him and Tommy Yen there to make me, you know, feel comfortable in a foreign country. And the first time I saw him wrestle, I was so impressed. Just his style of wrestling just speaks to me so much. The way that everything feels real, looks real. As a crowd, you can really feel it. You know, like the match tonight didn't have like the pops and the chants and all that, but I think people felt like they were watching a fight, and that's what it was. You know, that's what it feels like in the ring. It feels like a fight, and I think that's what people connect with the most, and that's the kind of wrestling that I love. So that was a match that meant so much to me. I've wanted it for so long, and I'm so happy that it delivered, and I was able to put on that performance for all my friends and family and fans in the crowd here at Beyond.
After I won the Ring of Honor Top Prospect Tournament, there was a decent amount of buzz, and Beyond Wrestling was a company that was, you know, with me before that. You know, they let me on the secret shows. I was able to wrestle with Busick, Brian Fury, Shane Rock, Mikey Whip, and once I was given that opportunity, that initial platform with Eddie Edwards and then Busick and Brian Fury. It's just, I can't explain up, it's not lost on me what those matches did for me to springboard my career. Because Ring of Honor is a great platform, but Beyond Wrestling made Donovan Dijak a star. It really did. You can ask Walter. I don't know if you know this, I sent WWE Germany tape after tape after tape, and they said, yeah, maybe. And it wasn't until I sent the tape of me versus Biff Busick from Bet Music, where they opened their eyes and they said, all right, come on over. That's what made a platform for me for the international side. That's what made a name for myself. And all of a sudden, I'm able to make a living off of professional wrestling. My beautiful wife is here supporting me. She's supporting me since day one. I'm so lucky to have Beyond Wrestling in my life. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to miss this so fucking much.
Double D, Donovan Dijak. What do you got to say about Double D?
Dijak came into Beyond Wrestling, okay, and went on a tear. Every match he had was so good that first year, and I mean every match he does have is good. He's just a beast. I hugged Dijak today, and I told him I was gonna miss him. It's because he's a good guy, solid dude. Well, last year at American Rana, we had a match where Dijak used a beverage to assault someone, because you know it's just wrestling where you assault someone with a beverage, and it hit like a $10,000 soundboard, but it was really only worth like a couple of grand or something, and like I think he literally paid for it to save, you know,
save us from losing
the building and all that.
It just shows you the level of character.
I could probably say no wrestler would do that. So Dijak's a good guy. I wish him the best.
It's the best. Good luck to him.
You like Dijak?
Did
you wrestle him singles?
I've never wrestled Dijak.
You never wrestled him at all?
He's just to train you a good guy.
No, he's a beast. He's a savage.
Doesn't mean we're not gonna see each other in the future.
Yeah, I wish you luck, Dijak.
Go kill a Dijak for us.
You know, the loss of Donovan Dijak to the Beyond Wrestling roster is devastating. And he's a once-in-a-lifetime performer. And he's somebody that is so gifted at what he does. And it's incredible to me that he only started watching wrestling again around the time of the CM Punk Pipe Bomb promo. So to go from that period to decide he wanted to be a professional wrestler, I mean, and in this period of time already being able to sign an exclusive contract so that he's no longer competing on the indies, I mean, very, very rarely do you see somebody have that sort of meteoric rise. And if there's anybody in the world that deserves it, it's Donovan Dijak. He's big. He's strong. He looks awesome. He sounds cool. He kicks ass, and he's a wicked nice guy. So I want to wish Donovan Dijak nothing but the best of luck. As eager as I would be to work with him again in the future, you know, if it's never meant to be, I wish him nothing but the best of luck. So he's the man.
I bust his chops. He's kind of whatever, but he's a great guy. And I think when you look at the Beyond locker room, he was just the most friendly dude. He was one of the nicest guys, and then he would go out there and kill it every single night. And he basically embodied everything that Beyond Wrestling, and I'd even argue that like pro wrestling, what makes it so good.